Hello. Okay. I'm going to try and coax my dog out of his bed. He's not even my room. He's probably with my mom. Okay. I guess he doesn't like me that much. Hey. Hi, everybody. How are you? Okay. I'm going to say hi to everyone. Are there engines here? How are you guys doing? You guys are all my Wednesday evening wind down gang. Glad to be here. Hello, Nadira, Jazzy, Arlene, Shelling, Amy C, Hanako Grace, Robin, Jazzy, Elizar, Dawn Marie, Robin Bryce, Amy C, Arlene, Nadira, Kathleen, Arlene, Shelling, Leah Warburton, Michelle. My sister's name is Michelle. Maritz, Hanako Grace, Fire Butterfly, Bangi Luna, Lisa Parker, Miriam, Bia Anderson, Maritz, Robin, Jolia, CMB, iCarmi, Jax, Carla Girl. Depak is not here. He's not even in my room. I didn't even realize. He's probably with my mom. Um, he's gonna knock if he wants to come in. Simply JJ, Seda, Cindy, OSP, Arlene, Letitia, Christy, Jordan, Nelson Angel Star, Chris, Iris Matthews, Courtney, Halina, Amy C, Miriam, Seda, Michelle Santiago, Z Arashi, Pia, Oraya, Fire Butterfly, Icebox, Leah, MLB, Lily, Brisa, Jolly A, Lindsay, That Zune, Lynn, Therin, their Tere, Tere. Am I right? I am Claudia, Magda, Saskia, Carla Girl, Carol Faye, Donita, Warren, Lorena. Lorena is on Twitch. Emil Braid, Salmar, Leah Warburton, Donita, Nicole, Reg Spear, Warren, Moonflower, OT7, 1013, Dummy Dumb, Christy, Salmar, Nigma Price, Helene, Cindy, Jins, Lori, Marian, Charlotte, Valne, Val. Okay. Hi, everybody. Is there any engine here? If there is, how are you doing? Are you are you okay? I know everyone was shocked, huh? Um waving. I was wondering, what was that? I was wondering My 16-year-old niece is an engine. She was brokenhearted. She called her mom midday to get picked up from school. She couldn't concentrate. Oh my gosh. I've been busy, and the weather feels like summer. I'm gone from 20-ish to plus 18 and will drop to negative 10 next week again. My heart is broken because someone else won the jackpot. But if you still want to know, the reference number for the castle is C54314. What castle? What is that? What fan chants should I be sure to know? I've never been to one on their concert. Of BTS? So the standard fan chant is the usual name. Kim Namjoon, Kim Seokjin, Min Yoongi. Sorry. Oh yeah, Min Yoongi. But I haven't done it in a while, so it's not second nature anymore. Jung Hoseok, Park Jimin, Kim Taehyung, Jungkook, BTS. So that's the standard fan chant. That's the like if there's anything for you to know, that's the fan chant that you need to know. And then per song, the agency actually releases a fan chant that everybody learns. So I'm not very good on all fan chants. I usually am able to like memorize one or two, but the standard fan chant is the one thing that you have to know because fans usually do that at the very beginning of the show or of a set that they're going to be releasing. So just memorize that. RM is first, and then Kim Seokjin, and they use the real name, not the stage name. You are shocked. Magandang umaga, she's saying good morning from the Philippines. Weather so weird lately. Bangalore, it was really good. The whole mess is ridiculously immature. I am just fed up. God forbid an artist do their own thing without fan permission. I know. So you're all shocked. Okay. So I there was a mistranslation. There was a translated. So he wrote a letter to his fans, explaining, not really explaining his decision, kind of explaining his decision, I guess. Um, but it was mistranslated by someone that obviously, very, very obviously, wanted to put the blame on the agency, and so they inserted some things there that were not you can't really find in the in the original letter. So that was what went around. That's why a lot of fans just clang on to to uh to just they just attached to they got attached to that translation, and they felt that he Sung himself was blaming the agency. It's not that translation that went around. It was even published by Sumpi. It was inaccurate. In the original letter, he never mentioned anything about presenting his work to B Lift Lab. He probably did, but it wasn't what he said. He simply stated that after so much discussion, he came to the conclusion that it was better to separate. So that gives you an idea how important accuracy is and checking your sources. Had I not had any Korean friends, I wouldn't have any agency to be able to translate that concrete accurately. But it was not. It was that was a whole mess. I published the correct translation in on my my X, but of course I don't usually tweet about ENHYPEN, so I'm not really surprised that it didn't spread. So everyone just went for that translation, which was the incorrect one. And it's just a demonstration of just how often this actually happens. And it's so sad. It's so sad. And now they're actually sending it seems to be his decision. He wanted to leave. So and I think, it doesn't mean that he hates the group. It doesn't mean that the group hates him. It just means that he wants to take a different artistic direction. And a lot of people can't face the fact that it happens, that this is work. At the end of the day, this is work. Now, I know that for a lot of engines that hurts because it's easy for us armies to say that because the group has never decided to, not a single member decided to leave. It is easier said than done. So that we have to give them. But the translation is wrong. What did I miss about Enhypen? One member left, their main vocalist. I'm still sad but will support Fire Butterfly. BTS, I blame the hag giving the fans delusions of grandeur. I can't imagine what engines are going through. My heart goes for them. What has happened to ENHYPEN? Their main vocalist, Song, left the group. I fully support Song's decision. I will support ENHYPEN and Song. I have been a fan since Island. It looks like the one in the V video for Winter Ahead. Okay. I heard ENHYPEN cancel their fan meeting. The members were all under the weather. Um, the fans being so immature and selfish, instead of supporting the artist's dreams, they stomp on them to make their world right. Remember to whisper Suga when he's about to rap. Okay. They sent 18 protest trucks. I saw that, and there were a lot of fans there, and I'm not really surprised because Enhypen is very, very popular and very, very successful. So no doubt and no argument about that. So yeah, I saw the protest trucks, but they're just pushing him against the wall. Um, they're cornering him, and he decided to leave. What can you do? But I do understand that fans. I understand. Like we will all be devastated if one member actually of BTS, now knock on wood, decides to leave. But the truth remains that he is being supported for his solo work, and it could have been, and he could have done it. He could have done both. So the mere fact that he decided to leave means he wants to leave. Um, BTS almost disbanded earlier, and we were heartbroken when they finally let us know. But that was after the fact. Like they let us know about the struggle after they were done with the struggle. Once they were all settled in. So I do understand how engines feel. My heart goes for them. I'm sure. I mean, they're very popular. The Enhypen is, they're just so popular. So I'm not really surprised. Um, Saying that easier said for army is not fair. The day Jin talked about disbandment, many armies has anxiety attacks. I understand, yeah. But you still have to admit that BTS decided to stay together, but they one member left. Not that the entire group disbanded, but one member left. And I, as far as I understand, I am only, and I think I mentioned it here, I'm just starting to get into their music. So, and it was all because of Jay. And so I'm not really that deep yet into their discography. I'm not in the stage where I'm really examining their songs and stuff like that. But I'm starting to like them. So to lose one member at this stage, it's kind of easier for me because I'm still just starting to get in on their music. We just saw their movie in the theaters just when we were starting to enjoy them more. Very talented, except realizing that this is mostly Song's decision. Yeah, except I know. There was one rude, I mean, ruthless, vicious not army, but fan. I think it was an engine, or at least she claims to be an engine. I posted what that person posted on. I can't say it here. It's too vicious. It's too like brutal. Um, so this fan just kind of, he or she was against Song leaving, and primarily she's concerned about the career of Song as a solo artist. But she said something there that was just, there are things that there are very, very strong opinions, and you are entitled to them, but not all opinions should be said or stated or posted on social media. And that thing that she posted on X was just vicious. It was just brutal, absolutely brutal. Um, but I hope that it motivates. Well, number one, I hope Song doesn't see it. But if he does see it, I hope it motivates him. They're all talented. They will be okay. I agree. On the other hand, they became a group when they were very young and are still so young, so they may be growing and maturing at different rates. That too. And as far as I understand, he's the oldest. So probably he is a little concerned about being able to do solo work before he enlists in the military. So that's one consideration. But I still remain that one of the things that that the benefit of actually him being getting signed under B Lift is that they are under the umbrella of HYBE, and so he enjoys the money. So he's going to be supported for sure. We were losing our mind after 2020 Festa, and they were only taking a break. I feel for engines. Yeah, Fairlane, the company was smart to keep him as it is a win-win. He is still with the company, and he knows, and shareholders are surely happy. Yeah, it is. The fans are even claiming that B left forced Hisong out to divert attention from Bang Shik's case. Oh my god. I actually have it in my slide. Uh, they're blaming everybody, or not okay, let me stand corrected. Not all engines are behaving this way. There are a lot of engines that are very, very mature, and then there are some that are just out there. So I saw one post on X. It was forwarded to me by another army, and this girl was blaming BTS for Hisong's departure. I'm like, wow. At this rate, BTS is going to be blamed for World War II. I promise you. They're just getting blamed for everything. So I think I won't be surprised if they start blaming BTS for World War II. They might blame BTS for inflation or for the shortage in oil, or every problem that the world has. They're probably gonna blame BTS and Bang Shio. But they will be fine. I'm pretty sure of that. They will be fine. Yeah, blame BTS. So apparently what they're saying, what this engine is saying, or at least she's claiming to be an engine, and I just want to make it clear that I am not saying all engines behave this way. Okay, so they just like armies, we have a lot of toxic armies. There are also toxic engines, and just like there are a lot of nice and kind armies and reasonable armies, there are also kind and reasonable and kind and intelligent engines. Now this specific person happened to be a toxic one. Okay, so she's blaming BTS, saying that the HYBE, because BTS is coming back, wants all attention to go to BTS because apparently BTS needs help in getting attention. And so they decided they were going to break up one band so that people are going to be disappointed, and then divert their attention back to BTS, because as I've said, BTS needs help in getting attention. So so, because we didn't pay them any attention when they were in the military. We didn't chart their songs. We didn't put one member into Billboard Hot 100, two members into Billboard Hot 100. We didn't break new records. We didn't put one member. We didn't support three members' tour, so that they are the first, second, and third best-selling tour for a solo act in in Korea. We didn't do all of that. So that, of course, BTS needs help. So it was just funny while I was watching her. But things like this, if you take seriously, it's gonna drive you mad. So whenever people send me stuff like that, I just laugh. It's a comic relief. Okay, are you humble bragging about BTS? And what was the netizens' response to the fan blaming BTS? I think there was another army who actually responded, and she was talking she said the same thing, like, do like, if of all the artists in that has ever gone to the military, BTS is the only one that actually charted all of their members in different charts, not just in Billboard, not just in the US, but different charts all over the world. They broke records in touring. Some members won't even promote anything in their solo releases, and they still charted. So it's like, sure, if there's any, you can sort of put together the streams of the second and third best selling groups after BTS, and they will not amount to the streams and the sales of BTS. So poor unknown BTS, yeah, they need help. This no go group, I don't know. This no go BTS group, who are they? My God, these people need help. I heard there are seven members. I'm not quite sure. Maybe seven, yeah. Yeah, I'm not really sure what they do, what kind of music they put out, but just a Nugu group. So the agency, of course, needs to do anything and destroy all the assets that they have, just so this Nugu group can actually get some attention. Yep. Okay. All right. We have some stuff to talk about, some fun ones as well. Let me see. We can do news and updates, and then I also have some notes and updates about BTS. And apparently, I did not load one of the. Give me 1 second. One of the. Okay. I never heard of them, not me being a fan of All for All. Let the fun begins. Okay, so let's start with so we have news and updates just in general about the industry. We have GQ. I still haven't gotten my copy. And by the way, I haven't gotten my army bomb, but the base already arrived. I for those that ordered the army bomb, and then the base. So that the cradle, I got the cradle and I got the accessory, but I haven't gotten the army bomb. So for those who ordered, did have you gotten in the US? Have you gotten your army bombs? Or it's just me? It will make me feel better if it's not just me. Hi Rani. No bad news today, right? Not a lot of bad news, no. I guess engine the what happened to ENHYPEN is the bad news. I have not you haven't gotten your copy either. Okay, that makes me feel better. But for the army bomb, my army bomb is almost here. Um might be here tomorrow. I have the base and the two accessories. I don't even have so I checked my although I ordered in the second batch. Remember they had the first batch that sold out quickly. I didn't stand a chance. I was out. And then it was in the re-release that I ordered. I don't know if you were able to order in the original release, but I've gotten the cradle, but not the army bomb. I have everything but the bomb. Okay, that makes me feel better. I'm not alone. Um, Fairlane, didn't you order your light stack and base separately? Yes, I did. I did. I did. I ordered it separately. Mine hasn't arrived. Okay, perfect. I was just hoping when I saw because you know how you usually get a notification from Weavers that your stuff will be delivered. I didn't really check. I just saw like the notification, swiped it out. I didn't look at the information. I thought the details. I thought it was the army bomb itself. So when it got here, it's like, oh my god. I thought I would be able to bring it to South Korea, but I guess I won't be able to do that. But that's fine. That's fine. I still have my other bombs anyway. Okay. My army bomb hats are arriving on the 13th. My army bomb has been sitting in shipping soon limbo for days. Okay. You know what I actually was hoping was there if there's any one of you who crochets, if you can create like a bag, a sling bag that where you can put your army bomb so that it's protected, but you can just sling it and you carry it around instead of having to put it in a separate bag or whatever. I would definitely purchase that and I would promote it. So if there's anyone who crochets who can do that so that we have something to carry, let me know. In fact, you know, maybe I can sponsor if you can create one for everyone that's going to Vegas. Let me know if there's anyone who crochets, if you can create one in the theme of BTS, of course, so that it's a sling bag and then you put your army bomb so that we're not like around. But it has to be like good enough, thick enough, um, so that it's protected because you're gonna be moving around. You don't want to be like worried about bumping it and whatever. So let me know if you are willing to do that. I would be more than willing to give it away as a gift to everybody that will be attending the Vegas show. Let me know who's interested. I'm a quilter. Okay, so let me know. It has to be. I thought about crochet because it's visible, so it's not going to be much of a problem for people when you go in a stadium, right? It has to be everything has to be visible. So I thought if it is a crochet, they can see it, right? There's going to be spaces they can actually see what it is. Not going to be much of a problem. Okay, let me know. Let me know. Okay, so let's go. Can you buy the light sticks at the venue? You can. They usually you can, but it sells out immediately. So the very last time that I attempted buying something, and then on the venue itself was Love Yourself. not speak yourself, but love yourself. And I queued up very early in the morning. I think I got there like 7 or 8 and everything. By the time that it got to me, um, I think they served me around 11 and almost everything was sold out, including the army bomb. So that's just but you can. The answer to that question is you can. Okay. I can't afford the prices of the ball caps and the hoodies. Yikes. I won't be able to buy everything, but there's a lot of stuff that I will be buying from the merch. Okay, let's start. Where do we start? Let's start with the GQ magazine. I haven't gotten my GQ magazine. So this is primarily coming from the website. You can go to GQ and the interview is there. I don't know if there are any additional interviews on the magazine in the magazine itself. So these are all coming from the actual interview itself. Okay. Um, has anyone seen the handle covers for the new bombs? I saw them on IG. Handle covers? You mean the cradle? Okay, so I absolutely love this interview, and I actually want to commend the reporter for being very, very respectful of BTS. He asked some questions that sort of help clarify some of the things that a lot of armies have been thinking about, especially an insight on it actually surprised me after reading the article. Kind of gave me some insights on how ARM's mind works. Now, we know, okay, so primarily I have been it's glaring from this interview, it's glaring that each member deals with fame and success very differently, specifically with their global and Western success. They deal with it very, very differently. I think you have, I would say, and I don't know them personally. All the impressions that I'm getting from the interviews, this one specifically, and all the other interviews that they have done before and the live streams. I would say that the polar opposites in terms of dealing with their fame would be RM and V. V's, I would say, ability to just focus on him and his little world makes his disposition so healthy, so that in the portion of the interview, and I will get to that later, but there was a portion of the interview when the reporter actually asked RM about his live stream where he talked about like how he was dealing, like his confusion and his struggles and stuff like that, and he asked how the members were reacting, and then V actually said that I don't have the burdens that he has. And I thought that was like that's how V is able to deal with fame, with all the attention in such a healthy way, because part of it is him not really caring a lot on things that he feels does not really concern him. And that specifically would be impression of people or expectations of others. V seems to have this very, I'd say like yeah, I'd say healthy mindset where he is just concerned about what just delivering what he thinks is best. Like for as long as he knows he delivers what he feels is best, I think he's okay with that. And I think that's also what allows him to have very clear and strong boundaries, is that because he's not concerned about what the haters are going to say. He's just concerned about the fact that this is what I know is best that I can deliver, and he delivers it. So on the polar opposite, there's RM, who is brilliant. And I've said this many times, he's brilliant in ways that weighs on him sometimes, because he thinks of so many things. He thinks about legacy, he thinks about where they came from, how they progressed, and he thinks about the past, the present, and the future. And for him, I feel like everything coexists in one time dimension. So 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 I think that's where the burden would be coming from, as opposed to V. And yes, I would say Jin as well. But for V, it just his boundary in this interview sort of drove it home for me. Not that this is the first time I've noticed, but I think in this interview, it drove it home for me that V has that in him, that he doesn't care to a certain degree. Like, not that he doesn't care about the fans. He cares about the fans. He doesn't care about the haters. He doesn't care about the future. He just cares about, okay, I am giving to you the best that I have. And that is what matters to me. And because this is the best that I have, it's take it or leave it kind of thing. Okay, let's go through it. Um, to the person who said if she crochets or anyone, just let me know. DM me in Patreon. I'm more than willing to sponsor um some stuff so that maybe for some people that will be attending the Vegas show, we can give it. I can make it a giveaway or something. Um, V lives in the now, not what could be. V lives in the now and what could be. Yeah. Yes, yeah, V lifts himself above it. I'm again, this is not the first time I'm noticing it, but this interview kind of drove it home for me. And probably because this is the first time they've again sat down together for an interview. And this is the first time they've sat down together for an interview after the military. So it's more pronounced for me, maybe. Okay, let's go. Um, this so he RM said in that interview that they do when they were here in LA, they do a 6-day week work week. And it's like a businessman. So they'd follow a very strict routine. And I that was so entertained with their routine. Training together in the gym in the morning, coming back home for lunch, reporting to the studio by 1 p.m., and working with various songwriters and producers on new songs until about 8 p.m. And then they come back to have dinner and then rest. Um, I don't know if you know this, but a lot of the most successful people follow a strict, not really strict, but they kind of fall into this routine, a specific routine in their life. And many of them are seem so regimented. It looks like it's very regimented. But if you look at it even closer, you kind of are you'll get the impression or the reality that it isn't regimented at all. The only thing that regimented is their work, but everything else is like loose and free. And that allows them to live a very balanced life because they have time for other things, to do other things. Great RM pick. Yeah, I love number one, any handbook that RM has worn, I absolutely love them. I think it fits him very well. Okay, so I know for like even for artists like Eminem, apparently Eminem does a 9 to 5 work day whenever he is writing songs or working. And that means he's going to arrive in the studio at exactly 9 a.m. He's going to start, and then at exactly 12 noon, he's going to take a 15-minute break. And this is like he would really say, like, I'm going to take a 15-minute break. Do not talk to me. And then he does, and then at 12 noon, he would have lunch until 1 o'clock and then resume working. And then he's gonna have snack or a 15-minute break again or a 30-minute break. And then he would stop at 5 or 6. And a lot of other people who worked with him actually was surprised that he was following such a regimented workday. And he started this, I think, after he got sober, by the way. So, and our Eminem said that it kind of helped him stay in focus. He's just focusing on his work, and then once he's done with the studio, he's just focusing on family, on friends, on his personal time. And it helped him. He said it kind of balanced his work. So, and then you have the non creative people like businessmen who are following the same routine. I think Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, they're known for following a specific routine when it comes to work. And that means they're starting at early, like 8 or 7, and then they end like 4 or 5, and then they do personal stuff. So I hope for them to at least have some semblance of routine when it comes to work, to the point that they know, okay, when it comes to work, I only do it from this time to this time. Allegedly, Eminem decided not to do any kind of tour, primarily because it breaks his routine, and he certainly wants to make sure that he's there in when his children grows up. So I hope that they follow something like this. Um, and then he did say, the reporter said that the routine that they followed. Um, I can't believe that Eminem is a grandpa. I know, right? So they said that the reporter said that BTS kind of appreciated the fact that they followed um, the same kind of like lifestyle that they were living in when they were back in 2013 in their very very first dormitory, back in the time when they would do absolutely anything and everything just to make it. Okay, so when they were rookies, that well, of course, this is their dorm back in 2013. So it's not exactly the same because this is their old dorm, because the dorm obviously the in LA is not anymore. And this is RM when he was, I guess, 16 or 17, um, or maybe 18. So it's not exactly the same because the dorm that they had in LA now looks like this. It's a mansion. So not exactly the same. They have their own rooms. I think for the paid members, show the mansion to you, or maybe I showed it here. I can't quite remember. So it's a huge one. It had 8 rooms. I guess the other room was actually for staff member or for their manager or for their security or whatever. But it's absolutely beautiful. This is their breakfast nook, and then they had a theater. They had a room for entertainment. And this is, if you would remember that picture of Jimin, look, I think they were watching something, one of the members or something, they were watching J-Hope maybe, and Jimin was in front, like right in front of that huge screen, and his shirt was almost off or something like that. Someone posted that picture, and that is this room. So it's a gigantic house. So it's not exactly like their 2013 house. So okay. And then this is a better view of the theater. So they can just sit down, watch. So not exactly like their 2013 selves. Now, the author said that the band and I are together. This is the author talking, in the studio about an hour away from Seoul, and the first interview they've ever granted as a group since announcing a break in 2022 to serve in the military. And I find myself immediately disarmed by their camaraderie, which feels both reassuring and hard won. And if you would observe interviews of other writers, the other writers and journalists who've done interviews with them, and then compare that to interviews that these same writers have done for other groups, you will never hear them say this thing. But this is common across all journalists that have interviewed them. They would always say they are truly friends. Like you can actually feel. Can someone repost that pic of Jimin almost shirtless? um, I can't quite remember who posted. It could have been J Hope. Could have been J Hope. If not, then probably Jimin himself. I definitely don't think it's Jungkook. But anyway, um, so just try to notice all the journalists who have interviewed them would always say this about them, that you can really feel they are friends. And then, is that an Airbnb mansion? Yes. So for all, if you are a paid member in Patreon, I posted this. Just go to Patreon and search for BTS mansion in LA. You would see all the pictures that I posted and some information. I think I also posted in Patreon which room belonged to which member. I think. I think. If I haven't, let me know because they told me which room was okay. All right. So going back. Okay, so try to like look at the other interviews of those journalists with other groups, and they have almost never said this, that you can feel the friendship, you can feel the bond. But across all journalists that have ever interviewed BTS, it's very common. Okay. um a group of armies could rent it out. No. So Come on. Do you think that so you only rent it month by month? So the Airbnb of J-Hope when he stayed in LA, that's also month by month. I also posted that in Patreon. If you're a paid member, just go ahead and search. And then for no, that is not the Hybe house. It's an Airbnb house. So um for this one, I don't know if the minimum was 3 months. It could have been 3 months, which meant they rented it for 3 months. But for J Hope, the rent of the place that he stayed in was monthly, and it is not cheap. It's not practical. So I guess the answer to what you said is that yes, absolutely, armies can actually come together and chip in to be able to rent the house, but it's so expensive, it's not practical. Okay. So, um, so they asked in here. So the reporter said that he actually asked RM about that live stream that he did when he talked about when he was really just vulnerable and talked about his emotions, and he RM said that and he asked how the other members reacted to it. And alleged apparently the other members didn't watch it. And I think Suga said, like, isn't that kind of awkward? We're so like close and we're spending time together every day that it's kind of awkward to watch some your bandmates live stream. And so they said they didn't. They just sort of, they comfort each other in other ways, which primarily means they try to make each other laugh. But then V, and this is where I got that insight. V said, RM is like the identity of this group. He's the core leader of the group. So he must feel so much pressure than the rest of us do. I usually don't have that much pressure, but it seems like he does. So one thing is very clear. I think very, very intelligently, and I have to commend V for this one, very, very intelligently, he kind of communicated the fact that we're not a monolith. The emotion or feeling of one person does not mean everyone else feels that way. We're all different. So we all feel differently about what we're going through. So just because RM is struggling does not mean the rest of the band is struggling. That doesn't mean that his emotion is invalid. It's just that we don't all share the same emotion. And I think V did it so intelligently and so sensitively that I at least this is how it's landing to me. Okay, this is how I'm understanding what he's saying. He's saying that for him, he's fine. Like he is fine. He's good with everything that they are going through. He deals with it. He's okay with it. RM though is a different animal altogether, and we all are. Okay, but he was able to communicate it so sensitively, so intelligently that he m- managed to tell armies he's doing great, but without invalidating what RM actually said. Okay. Okay, so then they said that we're not the type that consoles each other, but we just laugh and make fun of the person to make him laugh and forget about it. We also had some drinks together. I think Jimin was the one who said it. So they did. So again, going back into them making sure that RM is validated, they said that they had drinks together. So they tried to console RM. They just have their own way of doing it. So they just turned it into a meme. At least that's what RM said. Um, so I think it kind of, even to me, it kind of put what RM was going through into perspective. I think because number one, he's brilliant in ways that weighs on him sometimes, and number two, because he is still the leader of BTS. So I think for him there is a natural pressure, natural weight on him that the others aren't carrying. I think that's how he thinks of it. So a lot of the things that so that makes him more observant, but that makes him more sensitive, and of course it's heavier on him sometimes, um because no one else shares that responsibility. So and then much later in the interview he did say that this entire band, this entire company started with me, just himself, and then it just grew into something so big that he was like, I can't quite understand anymore what it is. So yeah, so maybe he's hard on himself. I think he's hard on himself. And I think if he wasn't, I don't think he would be as effective and as brilliant in what he does leading BTS. So I feel like uh it's like a balance. It's a good and bad. It's a yin and yang kind of situation. So maybe, at least to me, what I would say is that when he is doing all of those live streams, pouring himself out, his emotions, talking about being vulnerable and all, I think the best thing to do is just to listen. Like, let him, allow him that space to just like bring it all out. Just let him scream and let him, because I think at the end of the day, he knows how to deal with it. He just needs to let it out among people that understands the success that they have. Um, but yeah, I hope I'm making sense. But that's how I kind of got, or at least that's how I understand his position. He knows that he takes it upon himself, basically the success in every way possible, not just the commercial success, but the creative success of the group. It He takes on a natural weight just because he's the leader. He was the primary songwriter, the primary lyricist in the beginning, and this entire group was actually built around him. So there's like a natural like weight on him, and that's never ever gonna go away. But I do think at the end of the day, he knows how to deal with it, and you just need to give him the space. Like the fandom just needs to learn how to give him the space so that when he is doing that, when he's talking about his emotions, he could feel safe, that he could say things and just have people listen to it without judging it, basically. Okay. um, I love this live so much. Thank you. Okay, give him some love. He's our king. Okay. And then I love this quote by Megan Thee Stallion. She said that they just share a strong bond with each other and genuinely communicate as a group. It's so rare to see that collective level of humility, love, and teamwork, but it's a special dynamic, which I absolutely agree. It's so rare that everyone has the same level of commitment to the same group. To think that each person at this stage in their careers do not need to be in this group. And I think everyone should realize that none of not a single member needs to be in BTS at this stage. They can all go off on their own and they'll all be successful. The mere fact that they still commit to the group with the same intensity for now and into the future, I think that speaks a lot. And that is so rare to have seven members, to have seven men have the same amount of commitment to the group. And they're the most successful. They're the ones who don't need it the most, right? So it speaks more of the fact that they still opt to remain in this group. Okay. And of course that they're all humble. I remember that live. I remember that, and this is a joke, of course. So when Silk Sonic, the project group of Bruno Mars and Anderson Paak, they swept the Grammy that year that they released an album, and so they won all the major awards. And in the speech, and this was a joke. I just want to emphasize, don't take it seriously. He was kidding. Anderson Paak, who's a really fun person, we've seen that in the documentary of Suga. He said like, "Oh, listen, everybody, we're finding it really hard to be humble right now." And of course, just Bruno Mars was just laughing, and he made everybody laugh, and it was a joke. But also, it is very hard to be this humble, especially when you get to their level of success, right? Some groups, some idols don't get to their level of success and they feel like they have their level of success. So for BTS to still be humble, to still work just as hard, to have the awareness that there are still a lot of people who don't know them and they still are willing to work just as hard so that they could reach more and spread their culture, their music, that speaks volumes. Okay. And then there's Chris Martin. He said they're very tight personally, and they intertwine so well. Just count on a lyricist to be able to express things that we never think of. They don't tread on each other's toes too much, and there's distinct roles. The love between them is real. That was the most striking thing. Love in a very intense situation. So I never thought of like putting it that way, but he did it best. They intertwine so well. So they don't step on each other's toes. They don't overlap. And to a certain degree, I do think that having a role, having assigned role, kind for at least for this instance, it served them well because to them, because they're all brilliant. I think by now we all know that each member can do it all. They can lead their own group. We've seen each member do it in their own projects. They do not need any other member. They'll do just fine on their own. But because when they are in the group, they fall into these roles, it's easier because there's a certain level of acceptance that this is what you're supposed to do and this is what I'm supposed to do. And that's okay because we're not working for my success, we're working or your success. We're working for the success of this entity, this persona that we created, which is bigger than they are, bigger than the sum of its parts. So I think that helped them, but it also requires maturity to accept your role and not want more, right? I keep on saying this, but each member can exist without the other, right? They can exist without BTS. So it's so easy for each member to say, like, why do we need a leader? Why can't we just like whatever? Let's just work together. Let's be mature and give and take. And but they still emphasize that RM is the leader, that J Hope is the main dancer. So they're okay because they don't need to take another role to feed their ego, right? They know that they're made on their own. Okay. They are the most unique, perfect cosmic accident, and we are blessed to be able to live in them. Yes. And they love each other. And Suga said, I always came on time. He was talking about his military service. I always came in 10 minutes early. I got ready for whatever I had to do for the day. And it was the first, at first, it was weird for me to always get to some place on time and always go home at some time. But I got used to it. And later, it just became a part of me. In fact, he said that it affected even his songwriting because before the military service, he would usually write and do his music at night, which is we're the same. I kind of write during the night, and that's why I sleep like right before sunset or right after sunset. But because of the military service, it sort of imposed a certain discipline in him. So now he has fallen into the Eminem routine. He would do his work daytime and then sleep at night, which I think is very healthy. Okay. Um, I hope he continues with it. And I kind of hope that the same thing happens to other people. They go into that routine where, okay, at a certain time in my day, I work. And then when I'm not at work, then I'm not at work. I'm just doing things for myself. Okay, that's RM and Eminem. Sorry, Suga and Eminem. Okay. And then V said one of the group's most memorable reunion was actually during the break. It was before we all got discharged from the military and Jungkook cried. And Jungkook was kind of nonchalant about it. He said he does not remember. Jungkook cried because he really wanted to be on stage and he just really wants to perform, which just goes to show how much he really loves performing. So he is, and I hope this puts it to rest. A lot of people still criticize him for not writing his songs for his solo album, which he was very clear about why he did it that way. But I think what we need to understand about Jungkook is the one thing that he really loves is being on stage. So, and he's willing to do anything and everything for him to be on stage. At that time, he didn't have a lot of time because he was going to serve in the military. And so he decided, okay, I'm just going to accept songs so that I can do this fast. And besides, his target was global. He needed to sing in English. And so he decided not to write his songs. I wouldn't be surprised if Yongi slips back into the bad habits of doing everything at night. Yeah, I won't be surprised either. And then Halsey said, by the way, for all of these women and all of these people, actually, including Chris Martin, for Megan Thee Stallion, for Halsey, for Chris Martin, I really admire how they don't use BT. Well, they don't need to. They're very, very successful on their own. Um, they don't use BTS or they don't monetize their friendship with BTS. I really love the friends, like celebrity friends of BTS who don't. Another one would be Jackson Wang. He's very close to RM. And we rarely, almost never hear him talk about RM. The last time that he did, he mentioned only because he was asked about RM. And then he sort of answered it very like smart, very intelligently, he was very articulate about what he wanted to say. And then he put a rest on it. He kind of wanted to just move on And he did say that his friendship with RM is not for the public. So I appreciate these things. Okay. Now, Halsey said she was really impressed with how tasteful their solo work was handled. I think the most exciting thing about everyone's project was getting to see them flourish as songwriters and watch their personal flair come front and center. So I do think, despite the um, some army's apprehension about them doing solo work because it's going to give rise to the solo fandom. The Especially, you can't avoid the fact that there will be toxic solos. I think it was necessary. They had to do it for everyone's sanity. And also, let's do remember that they kind of did it very, very late. For other groups, they would usually do it like on the third year at the peak of their career. They will start doing solo work in preparation for the contract renewal. But for BTS, they actually waited like past their 7 years before they started doing formal solo work. Now, the three songwriters, the rap line, did release their mixtape. So they were given the chance to go solo. And I think if the vocal line already was into songwriting at that time, they had enough experience, they had enough knowledge. I think they would have also done their solo work, but it took time because they didn't start in the same place basically. Okay. Good night, Rani. I think Yoongi is like me, a natural night owl trying to survive in a daytime world. I'm also a night owl. Okay. Okay. So Jimin said the solo activities for me was like a wake up call. I knew that I had to practice a lot and grow as an artist and widen my spectrum before we banded together as one. I was looking at the performance and solo activities of other members, and I said, "Oh, I can do that. They're doing very great." Um, it is I think one thing that a lot of armies don't want to mention is the fact that the vocal line started later when it comes to songwriting and production and composition. They were already contributing early in their career. And I think they've made that pretty clear already that the vocal line was actually part of the process. But in terms of actually taking the lead in developing a song and producing a song, that came later for them. So but what was interesting is that even though the vocal line started later, they caught up so fast that they were able to match the rap line's commercial success, right? And I think it's also because of the influence the group had in them that they were able to match the rap line's depth when it comes to writing. So that I think played it kind of like unfolded perfectly in timeline. Um, but it was great for the vocal line specifically, to have this era where they were just doing their individual work. Because I think it did give them another layer of confidence when it comes to depth in their work because they know that they were going to be. I mean, even Suga was saying that they were the more popular members of the group, um, whether you accept it or not. Suga was the one who said it, but I think allowing them for the members for the vocal line when they did their solo work, they were kind of able to gain some confidence when it comes to depth. Okay. And then Taemin and Jimin, they watched and learned from the best. They did. They absolutely did. And then J Hope said, "What I really look forward to was about working solo is that you get to learn more about your taste, especially when you're collaborating with these legends, and you get to learn more about yourself. You get to learn more about your own colors and what kind of taste you have." And then he proceeded to talk about when he actually did his own stint in LA, collaborated with different producers. I thought that it was actually a very surprising move for J Hope because we all know that he would usually write everything end to end. Like from beginning to end, it would be him and him alone. So, I mean, he would start everything, he would conceptualize everything. And so for him to come into the studio with some producers with a beat or a melody, and then he just needs to refine them and adjust them so that it is his, I think that was very interesting. I also, if there's anything I'm interested in, I wanted to kind of see how he balanced it out, like giving up control, because he was so much in control in everything that he was doing prior to that. that just getting a beat from somebody, I thought like that would be interesting to see you actually work in a studio and have somebody tell you what to do, how you deliver a certain line. I thought I wanted to really see him do it. But again, just like the vocal line, having that opportunity to work with other producers, I think it really will help them grow. It helped them grow. And this actually plays into this narrative about self-production. You know how in there are many groups in K-pop that are starting to market themselves as self-produced. And I thought like maybe sure you can continue like producing your own work, but it is also time for you to sort of widen your market, your, your workspace, because it's starting to sound the same. Most of these groups, many of these groups that market themselves, anyway, but many of these groups would be stuck in a certain sound that it's not. I'm not talking about 17. I'm not talking about Stray Kids. I don't want people to say, I love those two groups. I'm not specifically talking about them, but a lot of the groups that a lot of other groups, if you hear their music, they're stagnant because they're not allowing new influences. Okay. Um, Next. I know we're here because we are a team and we started as a team and we are very much and we very much acknowledge, and also we have a lot of fun together. So in the groups that have broken up or had members who left, I think um, this is one of the things that actually not just K-pop but other groups from other like Western groups like Spice Girls or NSYNC. Um, for many of these groups, there's always the need, I guess. Yeah, I guess they have this need to be bigger than the group. There's always this sense of wanting to prove that they could have done it um, even without the group. If you look at the biggest groups that eventually disbanded, there's this always like sense that they want to prove they could have done it even without the group. So having BTS acknowledge that they wouldn't have been who they are if it wasn't for the group, I think that sense of humility, that the respect for who they were, how they started, and their history together is actually making them more mature in how they deal with their success individually and their solo careers as well. Because there's always the knowledge that no, I know I would have that things would have been different had I not been a part of the group. They know that they would have been successful if they weren't part of the group. But the humility, that acceptance that no, we are who we are because we started as BTS. I think that gives them it makes their workflow and their growth much easier because they're just humble enough to accept it. They're not fighting their history, they're not fighting their past. Um, there's always one member who feels that they should be more prominent than the rest. For yeah, yeah. Except for BTS. And then V said we all treasure BTS more than we treasure each one of us separately. We debuted as a group, so I think that's the core identity we have. So that's it. Like they know and they accept it and they're okay with it. Like they're not fighting their history. They're not fighting their past. I think that's the best way to put it. So if you're not fighting your past and you're working with it, then the future makes it easier for you. You make your future easier because there is just you can just leave the past behind. Like you can just move on from that, not have to like prove yourself against what has already happened, right? So I hope like if there's anything other groups will take from this, it would be that like just accept it. Um, I don't know if you remember NSYNC, but when they were not supposed to disband, supposedly Justin Timberlake was just going to pursue some solo activities and then they were going to come back together as a group. That didn't happen, meaning they didn't come back together as a group. They he because he had some success as a soloist and then the others didn't have the same amount of success as he did, and that sort of made him not want to go back. And then the same thing happened with Spice Girls. So they were going to, I think they were on, like, they didn't release an album for a while, and they were going to release their third or fourth album. I can't quite remember. And then just three of the members just they were go oh, okay, okay, so I can't remember. So Ginger Spice was out, and the four of them were going to release a song, release an album. And then three members, Posh, Scary, and Sporty, decided to spoil the third release, meaning they released their own individual songs, their own individual albums. So, which, and then the third album just flopped. And so that they were, it felt like they were fighting their history. They were fighting to prove that they will be able to do it without the girls. So, just like, it could have been bigger. Of course, they came back together again eventually, and they patched up, and that was that's a good thing. But had they not fought it, right? Had they not fought it, I think they would have solidified the group, and they would have been better off as well individually. Okay. I think it could be the other way also, that maybe not all of them wants to be as big as they have become. Maybe. Yeah. Some of them are just not like, they just don't care. um Suga, I think, isn't much, it's not, he's not very concerned about like commercial success, I think. Um the same thing happened with, I don't know if you know this, but for Michael Jackson, I did of course not watch this live. But when the Jacksons, it used to be Jackson 5, and then eventually the Jacksons, they went on tour, the Victory Tour, I think. And then on when they had their show in LA, and this was recounted in the article itself as well. Michael Jackson just announced, he went rogue and just announced, this is the last time we're going to be working together. Because he was fresh off the success of the Thriller. So that gives just like, there's this well, I do think that Michael Jackson became bigger than the Jacksons, or the Jackson 5. But and I guess he is an exception, but for all other groups, it's kind of like, it always feels like they're fighting their history. Like, they if they which you can't fight your history. um and then Halsey said they are respectful of each other and inclusive of everyone's opinion and ideas. There's really a clear vision of what BTS is, so everyone knows what's on the agenda, and they've hit such a stride in how their individual strengths support that central vision. It's not really egocentric environment. There's no way it could be, considering how focused they are on representing BTS and rewarding their fans. Um, and then the writer said it's a testament to the God honest friendship and their devotion to the army that is still happening. People always say that they will break up, but they don't. It never happens. So there's always the threat. Like, a lot of people say, oh, they're going to break up, or this is going to be there, and it hasn't happened. So the artist was like, they're just friends. They want to come together. So they want to work together. There's really nothing you can do about it. I went to the Victory Tour in Detroit. It was amazing. I can't understand the jealousy to tear them down. That's what irks me. Okay. And then Suga said, if we can keep this together, if we can keep going, then maybe we can be dancing in our 60s as long as we're willing. I think maybe into our 50s, into our 60s, we can always be together as a band. I do think at this stage that they will continue together. Of course, I don't think they're going to be active as a group all the time as they used to before they enlisted. But I think at some point they will want to, every several years, maybe come together to release a song, to release an album. I think that's never ever going to go away. I've been seeing people saying that after Arirang, they will go their separate ways. That's always, yeah, I think they will definitely do individual activities, and they should. They should. I think if there's anything that we learn by now, especially from BTS, is that they will always have that itch, right? Like that itch to scratch. They will always have things they want to do that they can't do in the band. So they're creative geniuses. They do deserve to have solo careers. But I think they will always be a band. They will always be together. Um, I don't know if you've heard of this, but one of the most legendary bands from Japan, Arashi, has decided to disband after, I don't know, 40 years. I don't know how long they've been together. Maybe 25 years or something. But they finally decided to call it quits. So several years ago, they went on hiatus. They decided to just take a break because they wanted to experience life as an ordinary, like, just whatever, do whatever it is that they want. And then they came together for one last tour, and they are touring this month, all the way until next month. They also released their last song together, and then they announced that they're going to be disbanding. And at this stage, they're in their, what, 50s now? I feel like they deserve it. Like, two are already married. They already have children. So I'm sure that they kind of want to be there for the growth of their kids. Now this part, I kind of already had a sense of this when, even before, in that dinner, the last dinner that they had, the last festa dinner that they had, RM said in that festa dinner that he had the full grasp of what BTS is until Dynamite. So I think in Dynamite he was still okay. Like he felt that he had like a grasp of what BTS is, the identity, the musical identity of BTS. But then Butter came in, and then Permission to Dance came in, and he said that he kind of felt lost after that because he didn't know who they were anymore. And it that felt natural because for the longest time, because he was the primary lyricist of BTS, he was the one who was in charge of the message. He did also say, and this was critical because Jimin responded to him in that, if you go back to the BTS dinner, the festa dinner that they had, he said that at some point while they were doing Butter, while in the midst of that success, he started questioning whether the message of BTS was really the message of BTS or his message. And then Jimin kind of reassured him, we never felt that way. But he said, yeah, but that's how I felt. That's what he said. And I guess it's natural because once you kind of start realizing that, it was his lyrics that built BTS all the way to that point, to the point where even up until On, which was number 4 in Billboard Hot 100, that was all his lyrics. Not all of it, but you know what I'm getting. And then for them to hit the summit and hit that mark that no one else have, um, and those weren't his words, those weren't his messages. It's becoming clear why he started feeling lost. And maybe him feeling what he's feeling right now is still a remnant of that feeling. Because then this is him again, right? This is him. This is BTS again. Not necessarily just all him, but this is BTS again. If, and this might be just his thought, this is what I am gathering for him. If they don't get to that level, he might start questioning whether he could do it at all, right? So he, they got that level of success not using a material that wasn't penned by him. So then if in the succeeding materials that they are using, which are now authored by all of them, if they don't get to that level, that might affect him. Now my like his assurance, I guess, his, it's not security, but like his assurance that the not really the confidence, but just he won't get the affirmation, the validation, the self-validation that he's looking for. I just hope that he doesn't measure it that way. I hope that he doesn't think that matching 33 weeks in Billboard Hot 100 is something that he needs to achieve, or 32 weeks. I hope that he knows that you don't have that. Things changed, rules changed, the just the overall industry changed, and so the measure has also changed, and how you can get those things have also changed. So let's see. Confidence could be confidence, could be confidence. Peace, maybe. So he said this year, I definitely had a grasp of what this group is back in the day, but now it seems like I hit this phase where it's impossible for me to know what the group is like or even who I am that clearly. What should BTS be saying to the world from now on, and what position should be BTS remembered for taking at this point? How are we going to function and moving? How are we going to function and to function moving forward? So he's the leader. So he's always thinking about that, right? Like legacy. What do we have to say? What else can we say? And in the same interview, well, in the question and answer interview, Suga did answer this and say it's too early to think about legacy. So I do think that each of them deals with these things differently. RM is really the one who thinks about the future. He thinks about like the substance and what can we say and the meaning and all of the depth and stuff. And then other members are like more in the now kind of thinking. Jin and V, they're more like in the now. I think Jungkook's concern is to just be back for armies. So so yeah, I think if he ever goes on a live stream again to open up, I think we just need to give him that space. And if at all, just like give him the assurance that they're doing great. Just they're doing great. That the charts don't matter anymore. It has been so manipulated, so influenced by things beyond our control that the most important thing is whether or not you're actually changing lives. So or affecting lives for that matter. Okay. Um this is the part when he said it's the team started with me, myself, and then it just became man. I don't know. The company, the label got so much bigger. Yeah, you know, I'm sure at some point he's just gonna let go. Uh, he will have to go through the process, but I think eventually he's just gonna learn how to let go, the same way the others have let go in their own way. So. The world is getting more complicated and confused even more and more. The platform has changed and the technology has changed so fast, getting faster and faster. It's accelerating. We're all very ambitious still about writing music and creating music depending on the different songs. There would be one member who would be the leading person who would contribute to the writing of the song. So he was describing their process and how they created the songs, which actually made me think. They said that they wrote more than 100 songs. So each member took on like about 10 each, wrote more than at least 10 each. So I'm assuming that other members actually wrote more. So I definitely hope that they use the other materials. I hope that they release another album, whether or not it's going to be promoted or like 100 songs. That's I mean, don't waste that, right? Release that because we definitely want to hear it. Um, and I hope that there is sometime in the future a documentary that will feature the writing process that they went through. I want to see like when he was saying how one person would lead. So he said each member would lead the development of one song, and then each of them wrote 10 at least. So I hope we get to see that. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. Although of course we will concentrate on Adidang, but I hope that in the future we get to see the other 100 pieces. Okay, the 100 songs. And then Jin said our only goal was to rank number one. He was talking about the past in TV music shows that would give us so much delight to be ranked number one. And after that, we grew as artists. I think we can only be here because we were very working hard, hardworking back then. So he was emphasizing just their discipline, their work discipline. He said that if they didn't go through everything that they went through, they wouldn't be where they are right now. Um, if they're going back to their roots, Asian and Semitic, think we can expect the eyeliner to maybe in a skit or something. I better it will be released before 2027 leg of the tour. I think we're still confused. This is RM saying, but we're trying to find a little piece of gold inside this confusion. And he said, I think we found it with the next album. So even he's saying that he actually likes the next album. So that's good, right? That he's feeling good about what they were able to achieve. And then someone asked me about this. So in the article, they mentioned that Jimin actually learned QBS music software. This is for production, for producing music. If you're an actual producer, Like someone would like Suga would know this would know this software, but it is specifically known for being able to split the beat into smaller parts so sounds can be placed more precisely inside a rhythm. So it's like slicing tuna in its smallest forms, something like that. So it's like cutting chicken into different pieces so that you can reassemble them to form something more beautiful. It's very, very technical. It also requires that's number one. It's very technical, but then it also is useless for you if you don't know what to do with it. If you don't have a sense of rhythm, you don't have musicality. If you're not into melody, it's kind of useless for you because it's really was made. It was made specifically for experts. So for him to be learning this, I'm okay. Jimin, I'm seated. I'm gonna wait for what you have. Okay. I asked a friend of mine who's a producer, and this is his career. He actually produces for a living. He said that he himself has never really used it because it's so advanced. It's so advanced that he at this stage in his career he doesn't feel like he need it yet. But he said it's so technical. So let's see what he's actually done with it. And then there's Jungkook, who was just like beaming with how fun the process is. So he said that there were times that they would pair up together. So different pairings, each they would pair in different at different times and see what they would actually be able to release or come up with different pairings. So he said sometimes we would pair up to go into a studio room. Sometimes it would be just one of us, and then we would switch pairs so that we could have different ideas at different types of collaborations. So it was our way of breaking away from molds. And sometimes it worked out really badly. Sometimes it worked out really nicely. But the whole process was very liberating and free. So it was very fun. So again, you can see just how different the Macne line was just like looking at this experience and how different it is from how RM was looking at it. And then you have Shoga who said, I do understand that being idol groups and boy bands and girl groups in K-pop industry, it might feel like it's a little bit restraining about the negative sides of life. But I think as artists and as individuals, you have to be able to express both the negative and the positive sides of life. I think we're slowly heading that way because this album has a lot of introspection and thoughts. Things have changed and we are still changing. I'm really seated for this album, but I also think that remember in the last concert of Suga in his encore, he walked in all the other shows. He was being carried out of the stage, and then he would walk out of the door and then not look back. But in the final show, he actually walked out on his own, opened the door, waved before closing it. And I think that really was his way of saying that he is now in a different headspace, in a different mental space. So I think he has learned how to deal with everything that he is going through and he has gone through. And he is in a healthier headspace now. Um, in all the live streams, he doesn't express as much angst anymore, which he voiced this out in the interviews that he has done with IU, for example. He said that I don't have those anger anymore. It has been resolved. And I think he has sort of maintained that. Um, so again, I think he the way that he looks and see and deal with what they are going through is also different, very different from how RM is dealing with it and looking at it. Probably meant overthinking. Okay. And then this is the writer talking. He said, for the band, at least, the goal was always less about actual trophy and more about having a North Star for the group to work forward. So this one I agree. Nearly 6 years after their last studio album, will their hot streak continue? The thing about Imperial Face is that it often happened only once. So this is what I was talking about. Usually when a group peaks, it happens once. And then after that, you kind of either plateau or you go down. So it would be interesting to see how this is going to be received commercially. I think critically, it's going to be great. The question is whether or not it's going to be as successful commercially. So that remains to be seen by the critics and by journalists. But I think members themselves, they're not really concerned about it. But RM did say at the end of it that now the most important thing is that just that they are back together again and we're going to see the fans all over the world. So he goes back to what matters and why they're doing it in the first place, and that is for army. So I think RM will sort it out. I think he will I think he will never lose that weight in him just because that's his nature. As I've said, he's brilliant in ways that weighs on him sometimes. But I think at some point he's going to sort of find a way on how to deal with how their career diverted from where they were originally envisioning it, from the success and all of that. I think he'll find his way. So when next time I think that he opens up, I think just give him the space to vent. We don't have to understand. We just need to be there and just assure him that it's all going to be great. That we'll always be here. Okay. Any questions? You okay? I really mean it. The caps were not on. What is that? What's happening? Um, Questions. I don't think BTS has peaked. I don't think they have peaked either. They were interrupted. So I don't think they have peaked. Just saying, actually, I don't care much for their positions. All of them are so amazing to me. They shine together. They shine all together and by themselves. And my respect and trust is in them is off the charts. He worked through his angst and became stronger. Yeah, I think so. I think he worked it out. He did voice it out. He said like all of the we're talking about Suga. So in the IU show, I remember him saying that all got resolved. Like in fact, that was reflected in his last album because the first half was very heavy, and then the second half. Oh, no, actually, like the first quarter was heavy, but the last, everything else after that, it was like he was so easy because he got to that stage um that I think it for him, and even the way that he answered that question about legacy when he said like it's too early to talk about legacy. I think he has also kind of learned how to deal with it on a day-to-day basis. So maybe he's not as like naturally dismissive of the future as V, but I think he's getting there. Snooze still makes me cry. To this day, Yoongi really touches me so much. For someone who says he grew up with not much love, he definitely knows how to love very well. He's such a cutesy. He's a cutesy. Okay. Um, what do you mean RM should stop thinking? Who said RM should stop thinking? What type of music? Okay. I guess you're having a conversation. So do you have questions before I move on to the next topic? Really glad Suga took the time to let out his August D persona. What a relief for an artist. Jimin spending time with Suga learning is awesome. I remember from early days clips where all he wanted was to go on a trip with Jungkook. What? I mean, Suga did say he doesn't have any anger anymore, so he doesn't know when August D will come out again. He did say that August D is not going to be the same. I think that's what he said. He's not saying that he's not going to write as August D again, but he's not. It's not going to be the same. Next topic. Okay. Love that he did that. Fairy Lane. Paul McCartney once said, "No one in the world knows what it's like to be them, the Beatles." I feel this statement is so true for BTS, and the other artists can sense that. Yeah, I think it was yeah, probably Paul McCartney. In one of their documentaries, he said that not even their wives. 7:30, Fairlane. My bomb shipped. Okay. Sorry, late, just saw your question. I thought it was fun. Then they say the songs were in the high range and blame Jin, and Jimin looked over his shoulder. Suga Tour story was genius, and the stage being the room. Yeah, it was an absolute genius. Okay, so the Economic Weekly published their BTS Economies edition. I haven't gotten my copy. I'll try to get a copy. But even after I get a copy, I do need to get it translated. So so you're gonna have to wait. But it basically examines the economic impact of BTS. So let's see. I hope I can get a copy and then I'll give you guys a copy as well. Now for I don't know if you're doing the hunt on Google. So if you go to Google and then search for their name, um, it will give you BTS. Sorry. So it's going to give you that. So just click on that, and then it's scavenger hunt. Okay. So right now I'm on time, so I've completed everything I can complete, and then the rest I'm gonna have to wait. But please go ahead and try that. But they were so we are at 10 million quests solved. Okay. All right. So do the scavenger hunt on Google. Okay. I did BTS scavenger hunt. It's so fun. It is fun. Now, wow, RM, wow. So he funded a book. It's a catalog actually of Korean paintings that are distributed all over the world. My gosh. So RM funded it on 100%. So he documented all Korean paintings that are abroad. My gosh. Because he just wanted to make sure that Koreans know where to find them, the world knows where to find them. So the publication of the catalog documenting old Korean paintings abroad scattered overseas. So I think you can get and this is a free copy. They're going to distribute it as a free copy. But just my gosh, his love for art. Oh my, like he puts his money where his mouth is. So I don't know where to get it yet. I think when I go to Korea, I'll try to get a copy. When I do, I'll let you know how to get one. But I do think it is free. They're going to be distributing that for free. Saw this when they talked about ARM's funding a few years ago when the project got started. Glad this is getting attention again. What a glorious way to support the arts. I know, right? ARM is bringing his art collection to San Francisco. Yes, they already released the schedule of his the exhibit that he curated. He published this morning. This is very quick, but the RM's ability to write poetry is just on another level. The translation is that trying to take flight with just two very flimsy metal plates, it works, then it doesn't over and over. A frustrated bear and a bear trying to cross the sea. I sent this to my friend and I asked him if he is referencing any kind of work. He said not necessarily, but if you cut it in different pieces, he is referencing certain known Korean literary references. So the first part I think is just it resonates, like it goes back to the time when planes were starting out, the Wright brothers and stuff, when it was just two metal plates. And they were sort of using fragile things, attempting something monumental is basically what they were doing with the very limited resources that he had. They were doing they were trying to do something phenomenal and monumental and groundbreaking. So symbolically it represents ambition exceeding current capability, trying to lift off with adequate tools, and the fragility behind this, the achievements, and the natural course of you wanting to reach things or achieve things using resources that are just flimsy, that are inadequate basically. And this is something that this strategy, this writing style is something that he actually does a lot. So in many of his past works, he has done the same analogy where he would start with inadequate resources to try and achieve something great. He has done it in Wildflower, he's done it in Moonchild, he's done it in Indigo. So for example, it's iHeartRadio Music Awards Power Hour. Okay, so it's Power Hour, so please go ahead and vote. The Wright brothers were not the fast flyers. Yeah, I've heard that. Okay, so Wildflower. I wanted the flower that never falls, but I dreamt. This is the lyrics in Wildflower. I wanted the flower that never falls, but I dreamt of a flame that would burn forever. So that's the same line. Like he would start with resources that are inadequate to achieve something great. Wildflower, no name is what I have, no shame is on my grave. So he started with nothing, and then he wanted to end in a way where he can say he has no regrets, basically. So same theme. Start with something inadequate to achieve something great. Now, the frustrated bear, he said, my friend said that there is actually a a dangon myth, and there the bear sort of persevered to be human again, not to be human again, but to be human. He wanted so bad to be human. So that was his journey. Like he would do anything and everything he could to be human. So he sort of started representing perseverance, resilience, and stuff like that. So to Koreans, to the bear actually represents more than just a cute animal, because that myth is something that's really very popular in Korea, and his drive to become human was so symbolic for them, because that's what they are taught to do. For Koreans, you need, being born isn't just, doesn't make you automatically human. Well, it doesn't automatically make you humane. So you have to work on that the same way a bear tried to do it. And in the bear's case, he became more human than those that were born a human. Hope that made sense. Okay. Um Next. So, okay, so this is about the catalog. According to the foundation, sorry, I caught it. So, according to the foundation, as of January 1 this year, Korean cultural heritage scattered across various countries totals 121,143 items, comprising 256,190 pieces. The figure is based on surveys of 801 institutions, including museums and galleries in 29 countries such as Japan, the US, and Germany. So the number increased by 8,472 compared to January 2024 count of 247,718. So maybe it's a swim spoiler lyric. Could be. Could be. Like Disney's Brother Bear or Alligator, the Princess and the Frog. It could be. Yeah. But it's the same idea, that just because you were born doesn't make you humane. It can make you human, but not humane. And then compare it to other entities that are not human, but are more human than we are, right? Because we hear this a lot, like, oh, the dog is more human than the human or whatever. So, okay. Um, that army bomb carrier doesn't protect the globe from the damage. It does not. So the BTS, the city, there are now a lot of businesses and entities and organizations that are sort of starting to announce their own activities. It's not clear whether they are officially affiliated with BTS the city. But one of them is, I think this is a very popular music store, record store. Okay, record store, that's the term. In Europe. So FNAC for the Europeans out there. So there is a pop-up arirang, and it's going to happen in these different locations. So I think if you go there, you're going to, there are items that you can buy. You can definitely buy the album and then the different versions of the album. There are activities you can listen to the album itself, come together, discuss the songs and stuff like that. But it's not clear if they are actually formally affiliated to the distribution partner of BTS. So, um, Geffen is the distributor, right? UMG basically. So UMG, they have a connection with different record stores. So this record store would actually buy albums and stuff. So um, UMG would sometimes do promos in order to encourage the stores to buy more albums. So, for example, they could give the store 100 posters. So limited posters. We'll give you 100. You can give it away to people that will be coming to your store, and so no one else will have that version of the poster, but that store. And this is very common. They do it all the time. So I don't know if this Arirang FNAC pop up is one of those efforts of UMG. You can check. But there's a lot now. It's starting to happen. A lot of indie stores, record stores are doing this now. Our local indie record store is having an album launch party. See, I don't, they could be. Most likely they are because they are usually directly affiliated to the distributor, which is UMG. This is most likely official, meaning UMG actually gave them the go signal, and this is part of the program of UMG. Although it may not necessarily be a part of the program of Big Hit directly, but the distributor. I hope that made sense. There is a record store in Fullerton, California that is hosting an Arirang party. Yeah. See, there's a lot, which made me think that probably UMG was the one who started this program. So let's see. But it would be interesting. Like if they give away some stuff, most likely that was the program. That is the program by UMG. That program was launched by UMG. Did we go over the HYBE changes in YP? I missed it. Not yet, but I'm getting there. It's in this slide. No, in the other slide. Okay. And then we have the boba. I don't know. There's a boba store that they will have a special event on the 20th and all the way to the 22nd um, near SoFi Stadium. So it's boba. They sell boba. They'll have different flavors, they said. To celebrate BTS's new album, Arirang FNAC is transforming its stores into temples of Korean culture. Pop-up store 7 a.m. opening, exclusive merch and K-beauty. Here's everything you need to know about. So that's for the FNAC, for the European one. Okay. Gyeongbokgung Palace, the national where is it? I think. Okay, the National Heritage Administration of Korea shared BTS's filming location at the Gyeongbokgung Palace through their official account. The filming took place in Gonjongjeon area, where important national events like the King's coronation and royal banquet are held. So what was funny was that, so they release this so that if you're going to the palace, you'll know where they shot, and so you can take a picture there. I guess you can recreate what happened, but that's the guide that they have. This is the zoom in so that you know exactly which member was shot where. Okay, now so that's RM. they used they used BT21 to demonstrate where RM was. So that was where he was shot going into the palace. Okay. That scene where he was walking. And then this is Jin. Okay. That's where he was filmed. And then this is Suga. Isn't it so cute? BT21 is back. They have a new job. They quit their old job. They're not covering their father's body anymore. So okay, that's Suga. And then this is J Hope. So you know where to take the pictures if you go to Gyeongbokgung Palace. This is J Hope. And then this place is awesome. I hope everyone here has a chance to visit someday. It is awesome. And then we have, I tried to screen cap the actual ad. This is where our Jimin was. So I think this is the King's private office. One of the Jimin fan bases sent it to me. This is the King's private office for Jimin. That's where he was shot, was filmed. Okay, and then you have I think Jin and V was shot was filmed were filmed in the same location. So right in front of the palace. So this is V, and then this is Jungkook. He was on the side. Um okay, Shuki, yeah, Shuki. It was so cute. Also 3.5 million units sold for Jungkook 7 in the US as per our IAA. So congratulations to Jungkook. That's a new milestone. And then Jimin has 5.2. This is just US. Okay, not worldwide. Okay, just US. Okay, so they are both now eligible for multiple platinums. I hope that they get submitted. And these are the artists, the only artists that reach number one in Billboard Artist 100. So you have BTS, Super M, Blackpink, Stray Kids, Twice, TXT, Jimin, 17, 80s, and ENHYPEN. So, oh, Jimin is the only soloist, I guess. Okay, so ENHYPEN, there you go. But they we are anticipating, of course, that they will reach number one again. BTS will reach number one again with their comeback. The presidential chief of staff Kan Hun Sik had a like a briefing with the police, with the Seoul government, local government. And he specifically stated that this is going to be treated, the comeback of BTS is going to be treated as a national affair. So when did Super M get number one? The only time that they made a comeback. Made a they well, they only had they only released one album. So yes, right around that time. But it was pretty quick. Like they I think within the first month of their debut, of the debut of Super M. Okay, so he said, I think in the briefing, he told the Seoul Metropolitan Police that this is going to be treated as a national affair. So this is going to be an official national affair. That's how they are going to treat it. So they said that it will be they will not accept. So it's kind of like a warning to make sure that they're doing their jobs well. He said they don't want a single incident to happen. So they don't want anybody hurt, nothing of that sort. So that this is usually the president's way of giving a warning, not really a warning, but an instruction to the police because he's the chief of staff, right? Not the commander in chief. So this is his way of giving them instructions that you better make sure that nothing happens. Is there any big artist come back same time as BTS? Well, there's a country music comeback, country musician that's going to make his comeback right around that time. So I guess he's big in the US, not big globally. Mm. Not in the same week. Okay. All right. So the name of the chief of staff is Kan Hun Shik. Super M had two albums. Oh, they had two albums. Okay. Oh, good news to everybody. Good news to US people. To Americans out there, the LADOR is going to now be available at Alta Beauty. My gosh. So oh, Kanye? Yay? Oh, okay. So so they are going to be available now in Alta Beauty finally. Good news. So once it is available, great. I'm going to go there. And then please go to Jimin and RM and V. They all published something on their Instagram. And then there is so Spotify has a project with BTS. They call it the Swim Side. It's basically different activities that will be released on a daily basis all the way until Kanye switched his date to the 27th. Good. Okay. Um so now what's going to happen is that I'm going to be forced to actually subscribe to have a paid subscription on Spotify. So they're going to release different activities every day apparently all the way until the launch on the 20th. So okay. So I don't know if you want to do a paid subscription. Maybe you want to wait and see if you can actually do a trial. That's one. Number two, if you can't access some of the activities unless you have a paid subscription. So why can Sephora have it? They'll probably, one of the reasons why can Sephora have it? One of the reasons they'll probably get there eventually. So one of the reasons this beauty products are actually signing BTS members is so that they can get into the US market. It's not easy. You can't just approach them and say, "Hey, I want you to distribute my product." It's not easy. So usually having V, for example, for tier, that allows them, and Jin for Jin Ramen, it makes it easier for them to enter the distribution in the US. And so for Jimin, they're finally able to get into the US market. They're now being distributed by Alta. I think eventually they're gonna get to other stores. They just need to have some experience with Alta, be able to sort of show the their sales, and then they can get into Sephora. But it's a big step. It's a big step for them. Okay. But going back to Spotify, yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to subscribe because I don't wanna risk not being able to see what's happening. But you guys might want to wait to see if you can actually access everything without subscribing or do a paid trial. You can do that too. Do a paid trial. I have never actually done a paid trial on Spotify. Okay. But for Apple, um, it's very, very important for us to continue streaming in Apple because if you would observe, there's actually a lot of artists who manage to rank inside the charts, even if they're weak on Spotify because they are strong in other platforms like Amazon and also Apple. Now, there are a lot of misinformation going around on different social media about the genre. BTS's release is considered pop, rock pop, pop rock. It is not under K-pop. So, always remember that they're not considered K-pop. Their genre is actually officially pop rock, which means the competition is actually stiffer. So make sure that you stream in Apple. You don't have Apple, it's okay. Just stream whatever you have. I'm just saying that it's let's not ignore Apple. Let's not ignore Amazon. Those are very important. Okay. But they are not K-pop. They're not considered K-pop. They're not classified as K-pop. So these are just some of the posts of RM. I think it's a hint of what we can expect, but let's see. Okay. So I have 9 minutes. I can do this. Okay. So NHYPEN, we've discussed this early in the live stream. NHYPEN fans are they are deploying protest trucks, and then they are threatening that they're going to be deploying protest trucks in HYBE America as well. HYBE America is going to be so confused. What the hell is happening? But engines. Okay, so they're going to be deploying protest trucks in HYBE America. Um, that's a sight to see. I sometimes go to that area. Maybe I'll go there when they do the and I'll shoot them for you. I'll film so that you can see what I can actually see. Do they have trucks in the US? Well, we there are like mobile billboards. Yeah. Or they can just themselves like do that themselves. Of course they're going to have to get a permit. So otherwise the police will be arresting them. Huntrix, the three are actually performing in the Oscars. Is it legal in the US? You do need to get a permit. You need to get a permit. If you're going to use the pedestrian for any other reason than walking, you do need to get a permit. So there is freedom of expression. You do need to get a permit for that specific one, though. What a waste of resources. Yeah. If I ever get a hold as to when they're actually going to do it, and if I'm here in the US, and if I like, if I'm not live streaming that day, I'll go there. Or maybe I'll just live stream from where they so yeah, just interview them. Why are you here? Okay. Um, looking forward to that. And then oh, so the police is cracking down on scalpers. In fact, they for the last 17 concert, allegedly, some of the police posted as fans and tried to buy tickets from scalpers and then arrested those that were actually selling them. And then I will want to watch the Oscars just to see Huntrix. Yeah, I'm looking forward to their performance. The thing is that the fans don't believe it was his choice. They really believe he was forced out of the group. I don't know. They also, I mean, he said it in his letter. The agency said it in his letter. The group said it in their statement. What else do they want? I think at this stage, it's pretty clear that they will not believe anything but their own imagination. So okay. Now the thing is that so after doing that for 17, they're trying to do the same thing for BTS. And allegedly they caught 105 scalpers for BTS's tickets in Gwanghwamun. And look, I am all for any kind of arrests when it comes to illegal things, but I do think 105 is too few. There are thousands of tickets out there that are available and they're not catching them. But still, at least they're making some efforts, right? Any kind of progress is still progress. What manner of delusion is this? Were they fans or aunties? I don't know. If you learn when they're going to Santa Monica, where the um yeah, Santa Monica, that's where the office of HYBE America is. If you learn when they're going, let me know. I'll go there and see. And then I live stream them. I Yeah. Well, the thing about the US is if you are in a public space, you don't have any sense of privacy. So if people shoot and they film and your face is shown, you really don't have any fight over that. Coachella is happening, so one of the groups, Filipino girl groups, will be performing, and Big Bang will also be performing. They are not a headliner. I think they are going to be on the third day, and they will be, I think, maybe 11th from the main act. Yeah, I think 11th from the main act. Yeah, they're also starting their world tour this year, and they said that they are estimating 1.5 million to sell 1.5 million tickets. So a lot of VIPs are very excited. If you're a VIP, good luck. I hope that you get tickets. Um, okay, I agree with Martha, as it was agreed on prior. I'll give 5 years, then I go solo. No one knows. I just will respect and support. Okay, Yeonjun worked for Miu Miu in the Paris Fashion Week. So he is the very first TXT member. I think he is the first HYBE member, maybe? No, second HYBE member. HYBE artist under HYBE that actually walked for the Fashion Week. But that was him. And then Taemin now moved to the agency of G Dragon. So they are now label mates. I don't know if you know what happened to their previous label. My heart goes to Taemin and all the other artists under that agency, but they didn't get paid. So they are owed at least one, each of them, they're owed like 100 million won, Korean won, and they're still not getting paid. And I think because it went out into the public, the agency didn't have a choice but to let the artists go. So Taemin was able to shake out of his contract with the agency and he moved to Galaxy, which is the same agency as G Dragon. Galaxy is treating G Dragon very well. They're treating him very well. They're supporting him, doing everything that they want, and I hope that they extend the same thing for G Dragon. There are other artists who've also signed with Galaxy, including Kim Jong-kook. This is not Jungkook, but the member of Running Man. He's also a singer, and then another artist, I believe an actor. Wasn't that the agency that the three EXO members started? No. So this is Big Planet Made or something like that. They're also not getting paid. So yeah, yeah, So my heart goes out to them. I hope that they actually get paid. I saw that there where the conspiracy is that Song is the sacrificial lamb to deflect from Bang Shiyuk. I got headache and just stopped looking. We were talking about it earlier. They're very, very creative. Park Jin Young steps down as a JYP executive director. Okay, so there's a lot of misinformation. A lot of people are saying that he's no longer involved in JYP except as a composer or as a producer for the groups. That is not true. Number one, JYP remains to be the biggest shareholder of Hybe. Sorry, of JYP. JYP is the biggest shareholder of JYP. It was him who chose the current CEO. Right now, JYP remains the biggest shareholder and also the chief creative officer. So he's still very much involved in the day to day and in the creatives of all the groups under JYP, except for Stray Kids, because Stray Kids manage themselves. Okay, so he's still very much in the company, still very much involved in the creative process. He's just stepping down as a director, as a one of the directors. That's it. He's not seeking for re-election as a director, but he's still in the company. He's still the biggest shareholder and still the chief creative officer. So his influence in JYP remains. So does it mean that the stepping down as an inside director reduces his power? Not really. As I've said, still the biggest shareholder, still the chief creative officer, And he was the one who appointed the current CEO of JYP. So no, not a lot of changes. What I do hope though, what I do hope, because this is what I am starting to notice with JYP, is that he keeps on launching groups and not being able to pay enough attention to each of the groups. Like NMIX, they're so talented, but I don't think they're getting enough attention from them, attention from him. This is the new CEO of Big Machine Records. So Big Machine Records, this is the um the company that Ithaca used to own, and they own mostly country music. So they have a lot of IPs, and they sign a lot of country artists, and they are actually the biggest, them and Quality Control. Those are the two most profitable companies of HYBE America. We don't hear a lot of them because their business is in another realm altogether. Now, Big Machine Records, that name is going to be brought out of HYBE by the former CEO. So he's taking that name, and then Big Machine Records in HYBE, they named it to Blue Highway Records, and he is the new CEO. Now, what is significant about this? So his name is Jake Basden. He's the new CEO of Blue Highway, which is formerly Big Machine Records, which was owned by Ithaca, purchased by HYBE. Okay, what is very important about this is that number one, he is a former manager. So one of the reasons they said he was chosen by the board of directors is that his vision and the way that he sees artists are actually consistent with how Bang Shi-yuk sees his artists, and that is that they are supposed to be the center of everything. So that's what he said. He's going to be bringing in his management expertise, his view, and his care for artists is going to bring that in to the Western market because he's a manager. He feels for the artists. So what, however, is more the most critical part about him being appointed as the new CEO of Big Machine is that he has connections in the West and the South, the Midwest, I would say, and the South. And so that's usually the area in the US that is very hard for hype artists to reach because those are dominated by country music. So pop doesn't go there a lot. if you're if if you're so big like Taylor Swift probably, but mostly they're into country music. And so because he has contact with that, the hope is for him to eventually open the market to to all the other artists of Hybe America and Hybe in general. So that's what's important. So let's see how that if for example he opens that market up to other artists under Hybe, that will give them a chunk of radio play and of course access to a new market bigger than what California and New York and Chicago together can ever bring to them. So I am hoping it's not going to be immediate, but I am hoping that he's actually able to deliver. Let's see what's going to happen. Are we allowed to buy the merch on Weavers tonight at 10 EDT, or is that the only Korean shipping address? I'm confused. I think you can buy. Yeah, I think you can buy. Um, Okay, so that I will stop there. I still have several more, but at least those things I was able to cover because I know that I skipped that in the last two live streams. So for the merch, yes, I think everyone is able to buy. And then Gwangwamon ticketing will also open tonight, just in case you are interested in. They're releasing 7,000 more new tickets. I mean, come on. Most likely 80,000 will be queuing up or 100,000, but better than nothing, I guess. So, and then I will not be, so I will be live streaming this Friday and another one on Monday. Those are the last two before I go to South Korea. And when I do go to South Korea, I've already mentioned that my schedule will be irregular. So I will just go live whenever I can, but I will be publishing the loose schedule on Patreon so that you kind of know where I will be at specific times. So, or approximately like time range of the day. So just wait for that. Okay, I'm just praying it goes well for our dear Bangtan. I hope so too. It will be. Manifest. Okay, thank you everybody. Thank you for being here, and then let's enjoy the last 9 days, I guess, 8 days of waiting. Thank you so much, and see ya. Bye.